Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Everything Horror Podcast. My name is Paul Dosky with the lovely fiance,
Tessa Baker.
And we are here to talk about the 2018 movie, Muerte, Tales of Horror. And
thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And because there's like 6 of them here, I believe if I did my math right. And this is a very big conference here. So what we're going to decide to do is, I guess, and just to not confuse everybody, is we'll do in alphabetical order to help out. Is everybody can introduce themselves, and then we'll get right into the tales of the horror, I guess. And we'll go from starting with Ashley.
Hi, my name's Ashley Lopez. I'm a vampire. My name is Ashley in the movie also, and I also play a witch, and then the ghost is my vampire. Hello.
Hi, I'm Chris Ambriz. I'm the director, producer, special effects makeup for Muerte, Tales of Horror.
Great to have you.
All right.
Thank you.
I think it is me next. My name is Lee Delagarza. I play Zach in Muerte, Tales of Horror. And I am pretty much the one that gets the ball rolling with you know, all the scenarios and everything that happens in the movie. So I mean, yeah, you could pretty much say this movie wouldn't have happened without me. So. Totally kidding, but yes, I did play that.
Oh my god.
Hi guys, my name is Alvarado. I'm the producer of the film, and I'm glad to be on here.
Hi, I'm Mario Aguilar. I play El Cucuy in the movie, and did some of the artwork as well as with the comic book that's in it as well.
And I think that leaves me. My name's Tara Allen. I play Christina. I was the nice, innocent one in the movie, so thanks, Zach.
Yeah, poor
Christina.
Poor Christina killed due to guilty by association.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. She did the crime,
right.
And she did drink alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
I did smoke that reefer. The devil's lettuce.
So, Christopher, we'll start with you first. How did the idea for this film come into play for writing it? Because you were talking about it a little bit off the air.
Yeah, we basically started the film as a short film, and it was The Date. Originally, that was the one that we had did a fundraiser for on Indiegogo, and we went about collecting a budget. And once we finished the film, after a very long, complicated shoot, we were shopping it around, and basically everybody said, hey, you know, we like it, but, you know, it needs to be longer. So we went back and started to re-engineer the film, or reverse engineer the film to be an anthology built around the comic book and the little situations that developed from all these characters kind of crossing paths and whatnot and everything. I felt like we needed to kind of also, you know, we had the sci-fi horror, so we wanted to do more of a straightforward horror film, something a little bit more spooky, something a little bit more visceral. So every one of these segments, I think, has its own kind of flavor.
Very cool. Very cool. And initially, how many stories were there? I'm sorry if you already already said it, but how many were there before you actually had to add some?
We started with 1, and then we added 3 more to round it out to about 90 minutes.
Okay, and that must have been The Date, Mirror, and El Cucuy?
El Cucuy.
El Cucuy? Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like we kind of reimagined, because we had done a short version of it a few years ago. It did well for us. It's still doing very well for us, and we wanted to kind of take it and put it into overdrive and kind of give the movie a stamp. And, you know, it had some really creative music with Liz Massad doing some of her orchestrations, and then Joe Becker contributed some music tracks for the Date and a couple other elements for it too. So we wanted to make sure that we had kind of a music flair, kind of a South Texas vibe, something that, a lot of people could just wrap around the mythology of the boogeyman, plus other things.
Yeah. So, Lewis, how did you meet up with Christopher? Did you know each other beforehand, or?
So that's funny. I've known Chris practically my own life. He's almost like a brother. We've known each other since the first grade. So we used to live right across the street from each other. So at a young age, we were just having Chris's mom drive us to the video store, pick up all sorts of horror films, and just binge watch horror movies all weekend long. So it came to a point where we think we're deciding we can probably do it ourselves. So we got a VHS camera from Chris's, I think, uncle, and we decided to start shooting, and we had no idea about a shot composition or anything. We just put the film on there, and then Chris was looking at a lot of Fangorias about makeup effects. So all his learning came from trial and error on me, putting on the makeup effects, doing all molds and latex and foam latex, which they don't use anymore. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we went through as growing up. So it's like we're grew up with each other, loving horror films, loving making movies. So we're always together.
We're celebrating our 20th year as a production entity, actually.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. We're doing a little retrospective. We hope to have it out this summer, kind of tracing all the short films that we've done, going all the way to this feature project.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. All right, now I'm gonna have to pick on Mario for a minute. Mario, you're the one that actually messaged us to begin with. So, first I'd like to ask you, how did you find us? And then, secondly, how did you get involved into the project?
Well, I like to look around, for different podcasts. I'm really into podcasts and listening to stuff, especially at work. Kind of, I can't have music really loud, so I have to have headphones on. So this is why I like to jam out of it at work, but it's so hard to. But I listen to the podcast, and a lot of different kind of podcasts, but horror podcasts. And I've been listening to yours for a while, and I liked it. I liked the way you spoke with people, and we had opportunity to market the movie. And so we got a hold of a bunch of other people, and you were kind enough to take us on and take on this big, 6 people here trying to talk all at once. But that's how I found you guys, and like I said, I like your show, so I'm happy to be here. So, but as far as getting involved with Chris, I have a small little extra part. Me and my wife had an extra part in the date, so I knew Chris from that point, and he needed somebody to do the Cucuy part. Like he said, he had done a Cucuy a few years back with another actor, and for whatever reason couldn't do it this time, and so he asked if I would be willing to take it on, having to put prosthetics on and contacts and makeup every time we did it, and if I was up for the challenge, he wanted to make sure I was going to quit halfway through, but it got really bad. But so I said yes, and went ahead and did it, and had no problem with it. And so here we are. He let me do it, and he made me look good on film. So got to give it to Chris.
And I would say actually, Mario did a great job on doing El Cucuy. He researched the character itself, and he found that little nursing rhyme you see in the movie when he's singing it. So, I mean, he got that himself. So, I mean, that was a very creepy part when he started singing it in Spanish. So, I give props to Mario on that.
Thanks. Just like I said, I wanted to make sure we got it right. There's a lot of Cucuy versions and a lot of different cultural urban legends that are out there that people are making movies with recently, and I wanted to make sure that we represented this one correctly. Didn't want to just, I don't know if I can cast a clutcher, but half-ass it. We wanted to make sure we knew what we were talking about and not stray too far away from what the original story is. And there's a lot of variations of the story, and it goes into a lot of culture, into the Latin American culture, Central America. So different versions of this. Even in Europe, there's a different version of a Cucuy they call Coco. So there's different ones all over, but it's kind of the same frame of the story. So we try to do it from the Latin point of view, and because that's where we grew up. I'm Hispanic, so I grew up with the grandma telling me if you don't behave, else the crew's gonna come to you. And that was kind of the scare to get us to do what they wanted to do. So I knew that, but I didn't know the whole story, and so I wanted to make sure we had some reference, at least to know where he's coming from. So that's why I did all that. But thank you, I appreciate that.
So he's basically the boogeyman for that culture.
Yes, it's the Latin American boogeyman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I must say, the singing definitely made the atmosphere of the surrounding creepy. Yeah. Because how often do you hear a boogeyman just all of a sudden sing? So that's kind of creepy.
Fetish for eyeballs too.
And those teeth. I mean, that would be some pointy teeth that I wouldn't want to mess with.
Yeah. Yeah, they're kind of
Now, Ashley, how did you end up getting involved with the project?
So that's actually the first movie I'd ever done. I've done theater for many years, and I was in Rocky Horror at the time. And the guy who was playing our Frankenfurter, he's in the movie. He plays Guy, the real douchey guy I think he's at the bar at the beginning of the date.
You mean Mr. Suit?
Yes.
Yeah.
The guy. Yes.
The guy.
Right. So I was in Rocky Horror with him. He was our Frankenfurter. He was amazing, obviously. And I guess Chris, I didn't know Chris at the time, but Chris needed a vampire. If I remember correctly, the parts were taken, but then, actresses came and went. So Peter was just kind of like, hey, you look like a vampire all the time. And so he thought that I would be really good for the part. So he told me and he told Chris, and me and Chris met up, and her name's Ashley, and, just coincidentally, my real name is Ashley. So you can say, that maybe it was meant to be. But, Chris liked me, and so he brought me in, and that was it was quite the experience. I had never done anything like that. It's obviously very, very, very different from theater. So it was a lot of fun, to say the very least. But that's how I got into it, and then we kept going on with the movie. He started adding these other factors in, and that's how I ended up playing Celine, also that witch that kind of screws all the girls over.
Frizzy hair, I believe.
I'm sorry. Can you say that one more time?
Well, I was joking, the frizzy hair.
Oh.
The frizzy hair. Sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why you kind of cut out there.
Maybe he's on speakerphone or something. Maybe it's cutting out a little bit. I don't know. It's technology.
I know it's tough, but yeah. So that's how So I ended up, playing the Celine, the frizzy-haired bitch as well, which was a lot of fun. I feel like her and Ashley aren't that far apart, so I'm not sure if I was being typecast at that point. But it's okay. I'll take it.
Yeah. How did you like that compliment there that you were just saying about the whole you always look like a vampire?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Actually it's funny because now I kind of am the complete opposite. My hair is like white basically and like really short. So, I just kind of go in phases, and at the time, I've always loved to just kind of, I don't know, dress in dark colors and stuff. Was never necessarily trying to look like a vampire, but I wasn't mad about it.
Very cool.
So, Tara, how did you get involved in the project?
Well, Chris, I had known Chris because we had both worked at the news station down there, KIII. And then that was probably like maybe 6 years earlier. And then a couple of years back, right when we were filming in 2016, I believe it was, he had saw this short that I had done with some of my news friends up here in Austin. So I lived in Corpus for several years, moved to Austin, and all of us, basically the news people, we wanted to make movies, but instead we got into the news instead. It happens a lot. So he saw one of my shorts that I had done. It was like 5 minutes long, A 13th Soul, and said, hey, I'm doing this movie right now. I want you to audition for a couple different parts. So it's either Christine or Spencer, and both parts are like different aspects of my personality, so it would have been cool doing either one. I ended up getting Christina, so it's like I got to be the nice one, and made a few trips, a couple weekends down there to film, and it was really fun. It was a great experience, and I really enjoyed it. But that's kind of how I got roped into this thing.
And it's so sad that Christina had to just do absolutely nothing just to get killed. So,
well, we're trying. I'm trying to convince Chris to go and do a part 2, Christina's Revenge, because I think it'd be really good to see her character come back and get reborn or something.
Redemption.
I mean, Christina did slap the hell out of me. So I mean, she did that.
You know what? I'm not sure that she deserved all that because of that, but okay.
Yeah, you definitely deserved it. No means no. Okay, consent.
Debatable.
Yeah, because we were sitting there and we're like, okay, so why is
Christina getting killed?
Why is Christina getting killed? Like,
what did she do that was bad?
Yeah, I was like, what did she do that was bad? Because I don't see what she did.
You know what? Christina got killed because Christina got killed because she slapped me. That's exactly.
Oh, that was okay.
No, you just one. You deserve that.
It's just
now,
fun,
sometimes the innocents just get roped in. So that's just what it was. Just an innocent bystander that just, dead men tell no tales. So that's
you broke one of the cardinal rules and screamed. You drank.
Yeah, a lot of your movies do tend to have a lot of the older sort of references to sin, drinking and smoking and partying. Ooh, not sex. Like
oh no! Oh no!
That's coming.
Yeah, the puritanical one. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
How about yourself, Eric? How did you get involved in this project?
I believe I got involved with it a little bit after my sister Ashley. She was in, I believe, The Date. Right? Is that okay? Yeah.
That's right.
And then I guess I just was able to just look and act the part of douchey cornball Zach.
A douchebag. What a coincidence.
Just straight cornball Zach, who just kind of is just like a little mischievous little person who likes to a little hoodlum who likes to kind of steal and be up to no good all the time. So hey, I mean, I guess I filled in that role, swimmingly. So no, I mean, it was an honor to be to have this part or to be given this part by Chris. It was fun, and I tried my best to kind of bring that mischievous little character to the screen. I hope I did it justice. But yeah, no, it was a blast. It was great.
Yeah, your character was really funny. Yeah, I think you played that part very well.
He's actually way more suave than that in real life.
Hey.
Ladies.
We don't. Come on, we don't got to go that far. I'm just kidding. No, yeah. No, yeah, it was good. I mean, that's I've done a little bit of theater, I've done like 2 shows in my life, but this was the first, I guess movie that I've done, and for it to be that type of role, kind of the person that kickstarts everything, and to be the main reason that Christina dies, it's pretty cool, No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
I'm glad to see there's no hard feelings there.
Do you know how hard it was for my mother to watch that? She still cries, okay? Her baby girl.
Yeah, no, yeah. I like to see the character that got the ball rolling. It was a fun part.
And it became Cucuy's punching bag at the end too. So.
Oh yeah. It was I miss my eyes. They were cool to have. You know, it's nice to see. You know. And it was a pretty hard bite that I took to the arm because it, you know, pretty much like paralyzed my whole body. You know, it'd be like that sometimes. You know.
Christopher and Lewis. So when trying to create the project here, how long did it actually take for everything to either become post-production to your campaign, your Indiegogo campaign, to actually filming it? How long has this film been in the process of being made?
Wow. I'll do my best to answer this concisely. We basically started in 2015, October of 2015, and I casted Ashley and Katie and Jessica and Will, and we went into 3 months of making masks and teeth and nails and all sorts of different prosthetics and stuff like that, up until when we got into shooting. Then we shot the dates from January to March, April, and then we started working on the other segments. And then Lewis came in October of that year, 2016, to film Muerte. And then another year passed. It was already 2017. We did Mirror. And then later on that year, we went into Muerte, the Cucuy segment, and we finished that in the summer. In between all that, we're doing all post-production. We're doing on the Adobe Cloud, $50 a month. So about roughly 3 years of editing, about a year's worth of shooting.
Wow. Crazy.
Not consecutively, but you know, it definitely. We'd get these spurts of shooting, and and then the editing really took a long time. I mean, between doing all the visual effects and conforming the film. I mean, it went through different variations before we got to where we were at. We were still shooting the comic book maybe about a month before the premiere of the film, which was in 2018. And by that point, I think we knew what the final cut was going to be, or at least what it was going to look like and how well it was going to work. And I had a great team. Like I said, Lewis producing on Muerte, Annette producing on Mirror, and everybody else that worked on Cucuy and stuff like that. The date was a little bit tougher because a lot of it fell on me, directly to do everything. And that was a challenge. It was a big challenge.
Very cool. And I give you props too, because I know I haven't really made a film yet, so I don't really know the process, but it sounds like it can be very frustrating at times, and from what I've heard from people, but for you guys, it seems like I believe it was off the air too, but just for the record too, is you took your time. You were telling me, and I just think everything can run smoothly that way, taking your time versus just rushing it in, because then if you rush it, then you might miss maybe some scenes that weren't really necessary to be in there, so you didn't really take them out to maybe make the scene not so long or something, but it's just a very interesting process, and like I said, I give you guys props, because I can't really say too much because I haven't made a film yet, or even a film.
I feel that the dedication to the cast and crew that we had, they went above and beyond, because obviously with us, with the low budget, they came on, like Tara coming on the weekends from Austin, and our shoots were 12-hour days. Shooting in one of the scenes that they were shooting in a hot room that didn't have AC, so having to be in Mario having to be that jacket on for hours shooting. So I mean, a lot of it we wouldn't be able to get this project done by all the cast and crew who did their dedication and making sure this film got done. So I would say thank you to them.
Good job, everybody.
I'd like to thank Chris because he, working with him, he always kept his cool. He kept his head. He didn't yell. You know, you hear a lot of people in Hollywood and other areas, they throw little temper tantrums. And for anyone who did throw a temper tantrum, Chris was just incredibly mature and responsible throughout the entire process. And it was really great working with him. So, good job, Chris.
I agree. I agree. I was about to say something pretty much exactly like that because it wasn't. I mean, I don't want to say it wasn't easy. You know, for me, I feel like I had so much fun the whole time. You know, but it was a lot. You know, and trying to get all these people to, you know, all their schedules to kind of match up, and you know, all it takes is one person to kind of be a little defiant and. You know, Chris is dealing with a bunch of people. Yeah, you know, and he really did never lose his cool. He, you know, always did his best to kind of work with everybody and to, you know, help, you know, please everybody. But to still, you know, get us to get the job done. He did a really good job of that. So definitely agreed.
And I appreciate you not using the Ouija board. Thank you for that. Spirit board, so much cooler.
Yeah, I was a little sketched out with that at first, but the little what we did end up using, I don't know, it was kind of cool. I mean, it worked the way like MJ was like holding it, kind of like made it, you know, look like, you know, it was moving on its own. It was good stuff.
I think for us too, in a sense, I mean, that is, you know, our culture, and like we really were raised with our parents telling us that like the Cucuy was going to come get us if we didn't, you know, straighten up. And so even though we're older, I don't know, maybe it's not so much the Cucuy, but you know, now we actually know the world and kind of what really is out there. So maybe it's even a little scarier. So, you know, it was fun in a sense because it was very relatable, but you know. It scared my kids, so I can still use it on them, so that's fine.
Yeah, run with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us here have been brought up with the whole, like, getting spanked with a belt or some type of or wooden board or ruler or something, so we definitely know what no means, and nowadays, to touch on like what Ashley was saying, is, you know, with the way the world has changed nowadays, people grow up to not know when to stop or what is wrong and right and everything else, because thanks to the new generation, if you hit a kid now, we can just be known as a child abuser. So it's great.
Right.
So maybe these boogeyman stories is the new way to tell people or tell kids like, hey, don't do that. Otherwise, you're going to be taken away by the boogeyman. So,
100%. My children are.
It's a reap what you sow kind of scenario.
That's true.
Yep. Yeah,
I can tell you it worked on me when I was a kid.
Yeah, it made it easy for my mom to tell me, you see, every time I tell you, don't get yourself in bad situations, because that's pretty much what what our movie is, just all of us getting ourselves into some sketchy situations.
Or other people getting their friends into sketchy situations that they didn't
Right, in your case. In Christina's case, absolutely.
The only innocent one.
That's me.
Again, it ended up that, I'm sorry, just to say a little bit too about the rest of the cast that's not here as well. You know, everybody that put in the hours, you know, some were pregnant, wearing all that stuff, and some people were blind, wearing all that stuff, and our crew on Mirror did a really great job. We shot that very, very quickly and very efficiently and stuff. And I'd like to thank everybody that, you know, contributed to the film. Love working with Berna. She brought so much to her character.
She's awesome.
Ophelia, you know, she's, you know, great, and love working with her on everything. She's been in quite a few of our films as well, and I feel like she brings a presence on camera just as well as Jessica Rihanna and everybody else that worked on the film, MJ, and deaf and poor old MJ put in blind makeup the first day on the set. You didn't know what was going on.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, everybody deserved the round of applause. Ready? Good job, everybody. You made the film happen, and it's great. We didn't get bored like most films nowadays. They don't seem to have been thought out too much, or they seem to rush or something, but this one, good job. Good job.
Well, thank you.
But,
it definitely was not a cash-in type movie. We really put a lot of effort into making something that we wanted to.
Done. And that's what should be done more is, the patience and with Mario, with the way he researched the boogeyman war over there and stuff and became the boogeyman, like it helped a lot. It makes it more believable rather than have something feel misplaced, I guess I'll say, or maybe not real enough, because maybe somebody might catch on like, oh, that's not right, I know this, or like this is actually supposed to be that, so they didn't do their research and blah blah blah. But yeah, no, I just think you guys did a really good job taking your time researching and stuff, and I mean, I can't really think of anything that I would say was a misplace. I mean, I know Tessa mentioned something when we were watching, I think, didn't you?
No.
That something was out of place or something was wrong or something?
No.
No? I thought you did.
The biggest, if there was a continuity error, there was like one in Mirror where the picture went up and the picture went down again. And we'd filmed some stuff, and I think because the picture's haunted.
Yeah, it was haunted. We established that. That's what had happened.
Okay. Maybe that's what it was.
The continuity on any kind of film is such a hit or miss scenario, trying to keep everything going straight for months on end, especially in editing too. And, you're like, oh no, you try to fix as many errors and, you go back and reshoot stuff, go back and do sound, do all the ADR and all that kind of stuff. Spend a lot of time trying to figure out what the sound was going to be. It was a lot of decision making that had to, go into this, especially we knew we were going to have to put on a show, and we wanted to be entertaining. We didn't want to be dull and boring. We wanted vampires to melt and bite, and we wanted Cucuy to rend flesh and stuff. We didn't make a PG-13 film. There's no way you're going to box us into that category and expect us to thrive in that kind of a situation, because that's not what we're about. We are horror fans, or at least me and Louis are nut horror fans. We love the genre. We love, going to movies and seeing them. We grew up on it. We have a little respect for the genre. We have a respect for the fans, if anybody claims to be a fan of us, but yeah.
And that's kind of the hard thing about the horror community, too, is trying to please everybody where, you can't please everybody. And everybody's going to have a different take on everything. And, I mean, but from what I've seen, you guys seem to be getting in some really good reviews, so it must not be too much negativity, if any. If there is a few, I'm curious to know what they found an error in your film about, just because, like, I mean, I know a lot of people think, like, well, maybe they had the budget or whatever, but we were already talking about the budget, too, but, Yeah,
you can't compare this to, like, a Marvel budget or something like that either.
Yeah, exactly. This is like $1 billion Hollywood film, so, yeah, that ain't gonna happen. But, for real quick, for Christopher, I'm just curious, how different was making this film compared to, like, your other films?
Oh, this. Wow. It was
longer?
different. No, because we had done a feature film before. Well, technology. I think what we kind of did was, we really tried to put a lot of technique. We tried to put a lot of color. We tried to really put a lot of, technique in the editing and the scares, the jump scares, everything. Just anything that we could really grab our heads around the material. And we just spent the most time with this one, I think. We've worked on a lot of other films that, they're shorts. They're like 5-10 minutes long. They don't take as long to produce. This thing took a long time. Just you don't have the money, takes you time. And I think that was just the thing, was just really concentrating on the material, having a story that we were very passionate about and wanting to get out there. And, when we had our big premiere screening at South Texas Underground Film Festival, and we had a rowdy audience that ate it up and clapped every time Ashley melted and cheered every time Mario bit somebody's eyes out, and did it was all worthwhile all of a sudden. Just all that pain and torture just faded away.
Now, Mario, going back to you for a minute, since you've were the boogeyman in this one, was there any different acting technique that you had to do for this one compared to any other roles that you've had, or was it pretty much kind of like the same?
Well, this was my first feature film as far as in a actual starring role, I guess, co-starring role, with 32 other people, by the way. That's a lot of cast, but one of the people that actually had lines, I've done extra parts in other movies, but nothing that required me to put on makeup, 3 hours before shooting, and then be in makeup for 10 hours, and then, having to be. We had to film, when we were filming my scenes with the Muerte part of it, thank God it was in the fall, I think it was November time, so it was not so hot as it usually is in Corpus. It's usually 112 in July and August, and November is not so hot, but I was wearing this heavy jacket, and when we were filming, we couldn't have the air conditioning on because the sound of the air conditioning running. So we would do all the parts when we were speaking or acting in there for sound with the air conditioning off. So after a while, I started to sweat, and being in this heavy jacket and the makeup and this wig, and just it gets sweaty after a while. So we didn't take breaks. So that's kind of why those days were long, because we were continually breaking because of that. My fault. But it was, like I said, it still was fun, and there were long days.
Darn, you're sweating. Why do you sweat, Mario?
I have to sweat. I don't know. I need to have those, like those people that don't have any glands. But I would have been perfect. We could have done like within 4 hours if I didn't have any sweat glands. It would have been perfect. But I digress. Anyway, it was fun. Had a good time, and like I said, Chris is awesome. Doing the makeup was fun doing. It was a process, having to get the live cast done, and then he made the mold and made me look like the way I looked. There's a lot of work going along. Especially the first time he did it, it took about 3.5 hours the first time, so he could get it the way he wanted. And kind of copied that every time we did it. So I think we did like 8 times. Well, that's my ear right now.
I think it was more than that. I think it was like 10 or 12.
10 times, yeah.
Well, between that one and the Cucuy segment, I think it was about 12 times. I know I ran a bunch of those. And then I got to hand it to my team, too. When I did have a team working on the film, we had Blanca Thomas working on makeup effects, and Philip Yarbrough, and Michelle Banks, and Jesse Cadena. We had people that came in for a day or two and assisted and, put in some help when we needed it badly. So I think there was actually one day I didn't even do makeup, I think, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because most of the time I was always covered in junk, too, trying to direct and shoot. So...
Cool.
So, Tara and Ashley, this being like your first film that you both acted in, besides you both doing shorts, how did you guys get into character?
Well, for me, it was kind of easy because Christina is, I'm a nice person. I like to think so anyways. And growing up, I was always the one that was like, hey, you guys, let's, not do this thing that's probably going to get us hurt, or that seems stupid. So I was always kind of the one that was trying to not do things that were crazy. My sister and my best friend are always like, hey, let's just ride our bikes down this straight uphill that's like at 90 degrees. And I'm like, oh, let's not do that. So I was kind of like channeling down my inner child and trying to go back to how I was innocent back then, and, not really wanting to do crazy stuff, but still wanting to have fun, but have it be safer fun. And Rihanna, the girl who played my best friend counterpart, Nicole, we actually had met that day on set, and we just hit it off. So we were able to just bond with our friendship immediately, and that actually ended up working out really well. So we were able to play friends because we ended up being
energy
friends.
together was great.
Yeah,
you would have thought that like y'all were just like best friends like y'all's entire life with the way that y'all were kind of like collaborating.
Yeah, it ended up working out really well. I think we had a lot of really good on-camera chemistry.
That always
so for me, it was I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of hard at first, because, you know, I'm used to someone always being there, like having someone to play off of, and it was really different doing the movie because it's like, you know, seen over and over and over again. And Jessica helped me so much. I mean, she probably saved my life, to be honest. She's obviously a super strong presence, you know, she's very confident, she knows what she's doing, and she had been, you know, she's been doing this for a while, so she was really sweet and awesome in helping me. It was almost like she could tell, you know, exactly, she knew exactly what I was having trouble doing. So she helped me a lot, you know, and just always trying to take in, you know, what she was trying to teach me and what Chris was trying to teach me. Chris, of course, I mean, the real MVP, you know, that goes without saying. He was very patient with me, like we talked about earlier. He definitely never lost his cool, you know. So, yeah, he helped me a lot. And between him and Jessica and, you know, just the whole cast being really, you know, it was more fun than anything, except, you know, we did freeze our butt off some nights. It was really cold, and I was in like the
cold.
the skimpiest outfit probably. So yeah, besides that, it was so much fun, and I mean, it was one of the biggest learning experiences of my life. It taught me so much, but it was difficult at first, but you know, just trying to learn from all the people around me and all their talent, it helped me a lot. That's really what did the most for me. So that's how I, you know, got into character, and just trying to continuously run with that and stay with that helped me a lot.
Very good. It is always hard when you get your first actual project versus a short. And, you know, it's always good to, like Tara was saying, to connect with somebody even on the set, to give that friendship bond and then really become friends. But that really does help bring the energy, the realistic, the friends in the film. Same with all of you guys.
Right. No, definitely. And I mean, Jessica is, of course, just such a cool person all around. And Katie and I had actually, we had done theater together, so we've already been friends, you know, so there's dynamic there, and Jessica's really easy to like. So that happened quickly, and yeah, I mean, they helped me a ton. They're awesome, all of them.
Jessica also owns a brewery, which we featured in the film, and that was a big asset to setting up some of the scenes in the film as well. So I got to, again, thank Jessica for letting us use Lazy Beach Brewery.
Cool. Now, Eric, how did you have to get into character? Because I noticed you even had a short under your name. So was this different for you, or did you kind of get into it okay?
Yeah, I would say at the beginning it was a little kind of like tricky, difficult, just kind of like with the thought in the back of my mind that I've like, you know, never done anything like this before. But a lot of the scenes that I had with MJ, who played Carter, I believe, and I've known MJ for probably like at least like 2 to 3 years prior. So that was something that really made it easy on me to like kind of be able to. It's just like with Terry and Rihanna, it was just like, I mean, even though, you know, they had just met each other and it looked like a completely just natural friendship for me and MJ, we've known each other. So I mean, the collaborative energy came pretty. I mean, it came a lot easier for me. So I mean, I don't think it was like too much trouble to like try and get into character, because like, I don't know, like the character that I'm playing is is kind of just like a goofy kind of like just like douchey kind of just like dude that just like wants to like I don't know, drink and like I don't know, smoke and do all the stuff that they do in the movie. But like it was just I mean, it was a fun character to get into, and MJ really helped me out like a lot of the way. He made it real comfortable for me. So it wasn't too hard to like, I guess, get into like the mode for that character. It was more fun than anything.
Yeah, your character had a lot of really funny lines. So just a lot of things that you were able to say, like especially whenever we came into the room, and you're just like, lady, whatever you said, was creepy. Yeah, and I remember we had to shoot that like 10 times, and just each time it was just creepier than the next, and
Yeah, I tried to just go like a little bit like cornier like every time. And,
yeah, like move your hips when you say that. That's gonna be real good.
Yeah, the hips, like the little arm thing that I do. I mean, I don't know. It's good.
And just so y'all know, he's actually doing the arm motion right now as he says it. So
I did. I am. It's natural motion.
Well, you gotta have fun with it somehow or another. So
it was super fun. Like yeah, especially the parts with Tara, because like it just like those parts were just meant to be like just awkward. Like yeah, and
they are. They're so awkward.
And Tara successfully made it incredibly awkward in those scenes, so it really wasn't that difficult for me at all to be extra cornball,
My favorite memory of working with Tara in one scene in particular is when she's being terrorized by Mario. She was actually kind of really terrorized. I mean, she was, are you okay? I'd ask her and stuff like that. She's a little hyperventilating, a little nervous and stuff like that. And she's like, I'm just dealing with it, Yeah.
Yeah. It was really hot, and I have pain issues with my back, so like I had to like fall off the bed, and I'm like, my chiropractor was so mad at me on Monday, which he was. So thanks, Dr. Kalenda. And then it was, I mean, I actually think that working with that heat created that sort of intense energy in the scene anyway, so it was a lot easier to freak out and to just pretend like, hey, you're really getting kidnapped by a monster, and then there's another monster, and then there's a red light behind this monster's face, and Berna's looking really crazy, and it's really hot and uncomfortable, and you're having to scream, and you're in leather pants, so it's just making everything all sticky. I think it organically turned out really well, just because it was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely.
It was.
Oh yes, I mean, I know people where they go off somewhere creepy just to get themselves scared, just then to come back to really have that terrified. I don't want to say feel, but the real emotion of being terrified into the film. And Tara, have you done, or Ashley, have you two done anything similar like that, where if you had to prepare yourself for anything, did you go off in a creepy place just to get that really bad, like creepy vibe, like, oh God, what's going on? This is so creepy, just to get yourself pumped up for a terrified scene or something?
What I did to prepare is that I went over and I did research. I looked at a bunch of old movies, a bunch of new movies, and I wanted to actually try to capture the fear in my facial expressions, because a lot of times in some of those films, it just looks real corny, and I didn't want this to come off as corny. I wanted to actually have that fear be there, and even with the spoilers, the throat slit scene, like I went and I looked at movies, and that's like a real big creepy trigger for me, is getting the slash. So I had to go through and try to research that and, look at my face in the mirror and try to fake it with water coming out of my mouth to try to capture how it would actually be. I wanted it to look real, and I wanted that fear to be there so that I could put on a good performance for the movie, and so I could put my name on it. I didn't want to have it turn out terrible. So I think that a lot of us, we actually, like you were talking about earlier with Mario, researching his role is that we wanted to put 110% into the roles by doing that research.
Yeah. So, well, it's interesting because of course my first character is Ashley, and she's a vampire, so she's not really like scared of too many things. She's not like necessarily being terrorized, but as much as I had like kind of wished my whole life that I played a character pretty similar to this, I was surprised to find that how, like, kind of what we were just talking about, like getting into character, because once I started playing a vampire, I realized like I don't really know how it feels to be a pissed off vampire, you know? Like, it's not an actual situation I've ever really had to encounter. So, you know, doing the same thing, kind of just going back into all the movies, you know, that I watched growing up and really trying to put myself in that situation. And Chris always helped. Like, Chris would be like, you know, more, talk, so, you know, be pissed off, be angry, whatever the situation was. So he always, you know, he would always guide me in how to do that. And then for Celine, that was a change because she's, you know, just kind of a wannabe witch. But yeah, I mean, really just trying to, like Tara said, you know, our environment, it really helped because it was really hot, you know, and it was dark and there was blood everywhere, you know, so just really, you know, trying to put myself in that situation and realize how actually truly terrifying that would be, you know, if I was really in this house and there was just all this crazy stuff going on around me. So, yeah, just trying to really, really get into that character and, you know, put myself in that place because, you know, as we all know, unfortunately, maybe not exactly like that situation, but, you know, some really dark stuff happens in the world, not too far from that. So, you know, kind of really trying to imagine what it would be like if that is something I was going through.
Oh yeah, for sure. Humanity is like probably the biggest monster out there. Well, some of us, I should say. Not everybody is a monster, but then again, people can hide
people out there that are very inhumane.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff happening. Yeah, and it's like, not, you know, maybe it's not necessarily just, you know, all these, it's vampires and witches, you know, but as we all know, you know, that humans, they can be even worse, so.
Yeah, it's more of like an interpretation.
One really funny memory about that, about filming with Ashley, especially when you're being terrorized by MJ. It's very fragile post-surgery.
Right.
And there was only so many ways I could. And I was kind of like, I didn't want you to get hurt. But this was like a very physical scene, and we had to shoot you a certain way so you didn't look different either. So that was very, very, very complicated.
It was, I think I was about maybe, let me see, a month and a half, like maybe post-op for, you know, a breast augmentation, and yeah, and we had to get that scene done because I think we had been putting it off. And but again, you know, Chris did a very great job of, you know, being delicate and taking care of me, but still making it happen. Because I think, in hindsight, I think we pulled it off pretty well.
Yeah, I don't actually remember seeing a difference. I'm gonna have to go back.
And MJ's one of my and MJ's one of my best friends actually, so it's even funnier, you know, because he's over here like, you know, just by eating me, basically. Yeah, but trying so hard not to like put his weight down on me and stuff. But he did a great job. Yeah, I think we pulled it off.
Yeah, it was. I remember just thinking how daunting that was shooting it, and then when we got into editing, I was like, well, you know, making sure that nothing looked too different, you know, in the shots and stuff like that, and it worked. It worked really well. And again, MJ's blind. MJ is completely blind with that makeup on.
He was, yeah, that's right. He had no eyes.
Eric, did you have any brutal scenes like this that were almost difficult to film?
I would probably say the most difficult. I mean, like my scenes weren't really like crazy out there difficult, but probably like the one that I would say the most difficult was whenever I was getting my eyes taken out by the Cucuy Mario, because we had to like dip the fake eyeball in like the fake blood pretty much, and then we have to pretty much lay it like right on top of my eye while I'm laying down. And I think we did that scene like a few times. Yeah. And and like just like trying to capture the intensity or pain of getting your eyeball taken out. Yeah, it was that was probably the most one of the most daunting, more difficult scenes. That one and then the one scene where I'm on the floor, I think kind of like pointing in a direction, but like in between takes, I was pretty much laying in a puddle of fake blood, and like if it was, I want to say that night, like that general scene took like a good while, and like just like laying on my side like in that position, like like I would like my body would like get uncomfortable, of course, so in between takes I would like get up, but then but whenever we were gonna try and shoot it again, I would have to just slowly just kind of like vampire my body back into that exact spot. And it was
rip out your hair.
Yeah. That was that was good. Yeah, I was looking at that was when Tara had just died, and she totally killed that throat slit scene. She nailed it. So that was awesome. But yeah, like I mean, I would probably say that was the most difficult scene was just like the eye part, just getting it taken out, at least 8 to 10 times, trying to keep the authenticity of like how gruesome and just like painful that would actually be. But yeah, it was a good little challenge. I hope I did it justice.
Apparently you have. It seems to be the thing, most rating issues we've had, eyeball stuff.
Yeah, I think it was good, because if people didn't like it, then they would probably just make a petition to change it. That's how people do it nowadays.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very, very now.
Yes. Yeah. That's when Mario should have ate the. Oh wait.
Yeah,
Mario. Speaking of which,
Mario should have ate the eye. That would have been great. That would
have
been like a little piece of popcorn,
Oh, pop it in. Just pop it right in.
Well, we talk about that scene. I think we've all seen it when I'm pulling the eye out. You don't actually see me dig my fingers into his eye and pull it out. It's all sound and movement, and it's with your brain's thinking going on. It's actually happening. So if you go back and look at it, you will not see my fingers in his eyes. You'll just see me pull it. And it's actually like I'm pulling out with the eye. But I'm never in his, and you just see me holding it. You don't see me actually tearing it out. So that being said, I don't think it's as gruesome as some movies I've seen there. When you see it there, you go out there and do that. But, it's fine. I like that kind of stuff, too. I just think sometimes less is more. And people, if you get in people's head when you're trying to scare them, that's even better. I think it's even more scarier when you get in their heads thinking about what they think they see. I mean, there's a lot of movies that are out there that are just from camera tricks or editing or psychologically sound and lighting. And you gotta have lighting. You gotta have it to Chris, because Chris was really, this is why it took so long for this movie together, because he really took his time in the editing part where he made sure every little part matched up just right, and I saw him do it, so I know that he did that time and it was meticulous. And like I said, it wasn't, this version you see right now was like maybe the 5th or 6th version before he actually, put this last one up to what we are releasing now. But you got to hand it to him. He really tightened that as tight as he could, and took his time. And that's sometimes it's a really good thing. When you can take your time, you can see some of the mistakes and catch the things that you could fix very easily. I wish you would have if you had just taken a little bit more time. So, but yeah.
Nice. Now, going back to like what Eric was saying about his hardest scene, Mario, would you believe that was maybe one of your harder scenes when playing the boogeyman, or did you maybe feel like another scene was a little bit harder for you?
As far as pain-wise, there was a scene where I bite his arm, and I get kicked back into the back room. Just fly back. Rihanna, who plays. Sorry, I'm bad in the name here. Anyway, so Rihanna, Nicole, sorry, and she kicks me in the chest. Well, we didn't practice that, right? They just came in and said, "Okay, you just push him off." Well, she went full on and kicked me in the chest, and I really flew back. That's not the take that you see, though. I don't think that's exact. It's kind of maybe a mixture of that, but she hit me full on in the chest, and I was okay. So that's how we're gonna do it. Okay, let me know this time, and I can tell you, I expected, but she caught me really good. So we didn't. I don't think we used that. She kind of pushed it off the next time. She was fine, but yeah, I think maybe we should have practiced that before we tried it. But she went on. It looked really good. I was hoping he would have used it.
She's so tall. She has that power in her legs too.
Yeah. I walked right into that. It was not even
So, Christopher, when you were editing, was there any scene while editing that you either felt too long that you had to cut, or were there any type of specific scenes that you guys have filmed or shot, I should say, that had to be taken out because it felt like it didn't work with the movie at all?
Hey, Chris, were there any scenes, maybe with some people?
Yeah, I think it was with Lewis, and we were watching. I think it was after the second screening, right, Lewis?
Yeah.
And there was this scene with Rihanna. It was Rihanna and Tara, and it seemed to kind of, in your opinion, kind of just lag a little bit.
Yeah.
I think we felt that we already established what the characters were like, and there were some reservations and stuff, and you would see it later more anyways. So we trimmed that out, and I think we trimmed little bits here and there just to kind of tighten up some reactions in mirror. I think mirror is probably the tightest in the editing when it comes to that, with just getting most of it out there. And the date, there's a few things in the date that are missing, and I found recently when I was cleaning the computer out, and I was like looking at it, and I was like, it was kind of neat. You could see the eyeballs moving behind Will's face, and they're red, and it's in his fake face, and I like that, but it just didn't ever work in context of the movie.
Yeah, it's a shame sometimes when we want to get like a specific scene to work, but we can't, so people got to cut it out. It's always a shame. But then I guess that's what we did.
Actually, sorry to cut in. There was a scene, a spectacular headshot scene.
So Chris's friend created like potato gun, so we can shoot the where Rihanna gets shot in the head by MJ when she's a vampire already.
Oh, yeah.
So we created this. Will there, me and Will are in the back there pumping it to get the pressure going. And Chris is ready to line up the shot. Everything's going good. So Will was supposed to put press the button right. And what happened was that I guess his hands were all dirty or slippery. I don't know what happened, but it went off too early.
And it slipped out of frame.
It slipped out of frame. So it was a total blunder, but it was just like,
looked great.
It looked great, but then it was like, and then Chris ended up fixing it and editing, but
do it in deep dive.
Yeah.
Wasn't
it was a funny thing.
Y'all didn't like pump the cannon like enough, so So whenever he shot
No,
it,
we
it was just like a little poof. Like it's just like
well, we didn't put enough blood in it or something.
Yeah, but
it was something like that. I can't remember.
Clean all the viscera afterwards to get it back.
Oh, yeah.
To get a clean plate. So it was blood and brains everywhere. But it completely lost shot.
Yeah, it went like straight just like onto like my patio door, and like, and it was
went up on the ceiling a
really
little bit. I was just like,
I'm pretty sure like it's still there's little bits that are still there.
There's still traces. There should be. We
just look in the crevices.
every inch of that ceiling.
Yeah, and like and props to. I remember like as soon as the scene was done, Will he was like all right guys, let's we need to clean this like
he's like
now.
We gotta clean this shit up.
I know, it was like Will and I were over there trying to clean all that junk off. I was like,
I remember how committed to Rihanna's reaction to that shot too. I mean, she really threw her back, and she looked like Jello when she got hit. So it was a really good look too. It was just such a wasted shot.
Yeah, that just seemed unfortunate too.
So, Christopher, what made you guys decide to go with practical effects versus CGI?
I think that I'm such a fan of Tom Savini and George Romero and the early stuff that Sam Raimi and his team did back in the 80s and 90s. It's just an art. I look at it as an art. It combines sculpting, painting, fabrication,
like the pure blood and like gore and like.
Well, even beyond that too, just the look of like Ashley and Katie and Jessica's makeup effects. They all had very distinctive looking vampire faces, and Will's robotic face had a look. Everybody had a look in the film. I tried to inject as much of a visual flair to it. And these things you just can't do that well in a computer. Even going into Mario's, a lot of what, they say with an actor wears the makeup or the actor, either the makeup wears the actor or the actor wears the makeup too. And that Mario's a good example of, taking that look and just running with it. Because Mario does not look anything like that. It is, a creation. And I mean, you can do a lot in the computer. I work with After Effects a lot in my job, and all the other different elements and stuff. And there's a lot that you can do with CGI, and there are quite a few good CGI shots in the film. But my main thoughts, and Louis will go along with me on this too, is that if we can get it on camera and we can make it work on camera, the more natural it looks, the more less fake and animated that we can get it away from being is better.
Yeah, and that's kind of like how we kind of grew up when he was testing the makeup scenes and testing it up. So horror, like doing Halloween, for example, is always a big thing for us, doing the makeup on there. So I guess we're just a little old school by making sure, like, we would like to make sure it's physically there where we're shooting. And then we're not saying, like, we don't want to do any of the visual effects of it because technology is growing so fast. So we have to keep up with that and make sure we do have some of that element in our films. But I feel that Chris will agree with me on this. We want to make sure it's in front of the camera. Because if it's in front of the camera, you can look at it and see your shot and feel like, well, we need to do some touch-ups here, touch-ups there, and try to perfect it. So that's one of the things I guess it's a preference on our account that we want it to be in front of the camera.
Well, Paul and I think that it's great that you guys really utilize using practical effects in your film because we're huge fans of people using practical effects in films. Like, especially if it's done right and it's convincing, then
we don't get taken out of the film.
Yeah.
If it looks
right.
Yeah, because a lot of the times people tend to use like a lot of CGI and not enough practical effects, and that really just takes the fun out of it for us to watch because we're such big fans of seeing like the classic old school practical effects. Because like we're kids of the 80s, So
Right.
we like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
guys did really great with the practical effects. Like we really enjoyed watching like the use of all the practical effects that you guys actually did, and we were like really happy that you didn't like use like tons of CGI. You know, most of your stuff it was pretty much practical effects.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really
Yeah, the
awesome. I
only
just
thing
want to
that I
take a
think
second to really thank you for that. That's really
Oh,
Thank you.
Well,
You're
you're
welcome.
welcome.
Yeah, the only thing I think that I really said too when watching is just like, I know they're saying they're vampires, but man, some of these sound effects sound like they're a werewolf, so I don't know what's going on here. So,
Yeah, we wanted them to sound very guttural, very monstrous,
Very
demonic, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, it was
get
scary.
over here.
Yeah, especially what was it? Lori? Or what was her name?
Sorry.
I think it's Lori.
Yeah, Lori. Like she sounded like really primal and animalistic, like almost. Yeah, it was the part where you're like, I don't know if she's supposed to be like a vampire or a werewolf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it was when she was feeding on the woman in the
The bedroom.
No, it was
No,
like
I mean,
it was like a garage or something.
Yeah.
I'm here for the party.
Yeah, the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
growled a lot.
was it Will?
Yeah, Will.
Yeah, Will came in after his face was kind of torn off and he had the gun and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I'm
great.
surprised he made it down them stairs. Like the poor guy was so blind in that costume because he has a bad left eye and his good eye is the right eye, and that's covered with all the prosthetics. So he's blind most of the end. He like we're pushing him here and there to where he needed to go and stuff. He was like a puppet. Poor guy.
Go right, go right.
Go right, left. Yeah, they were just. Well, I can't see. I'm blind. Yeah, that was his favorite. Oh, that and then this wire is getting caught on my eyelid. That was his other favorite line to tell us. He cried a lot. Literally cried a lot.
Wow. Well, I guess that did tend to happen, I guess. I don't know how to. I guess he was really feeling the role. Yeah. So I wanted to touch on what you were talking about with what you were saying about the technology, how it upgrades like almost every year or every few years. Now, if you guys could go back, like let's just say the movie not even out yet, but if you guys could go back and change something about the movie, is there anything that you guys would like to change to make it either better or to just change something in general?
I always joked around this because we've had discussions about this for reasons we can't really go into at the moment. But, you know, if I could have gone back and reshot, I would have probably made a career. I really probably would have gone a little bit more bonkers with it. I'm just a really big fan of, like, early Peter Jackson, early Sam Raimi, early George Romero. I mean, you would have probably even got more bang for your buck if I had more money and more time.
That's true. So
and maybe just more action. I'm just, and I love action sequences. I would have probably maybe made a few more action gags, and there would just been more, just more stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
I know for me, I think what would have been cool is if we could have seen actually like part of the spell that the girls all did. I think that would have been cool. So we saw before, then we saw after, then we saw the aftermath from it. Like maybe a little snippet of trying to do something. I think that could have been cool as well.
Yeah, we didn't really. I mean, we shot stuff, but again, I kind of felt like, along with the the séance scene too, that they did feel like they were a little long, and I was just like, well, people are going to get the idea that they're doing something.
Yeah.
So I left it up to the audience to infer more of what the spirit or the spell was, or what what they were trying to do, instead of us just throwing it out there, with the kitchen sink too.
Now I'm going to go back for a minute I think it was you that brought it up, or Ashley did, I think, about the whole not using the Ouija board. So what do you guys actually believe about the whole Ouija board stuff? Like it's using one?
Terry,
Okay. Well, okay.
Terry, is this you? Or?
Yeah, I think that's Tara, but
that's me. Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm pagan, and I'm very sensitive to energy. And I've had friends and family members do stuff with Ouija boards in the past. I know that, I forgot what Mattel makes them, but it's still, a lot of people like to play around with things that they don't really understand. They open up doorways. And then can I cuss on here? Can I say shit? I'm going to say shit. Then that shit follows me home. And then I can't sleep because I'm getting, I'm, even though the spirit board is literally the same thing, most people don't know how to use a spirit board, like with the pendulum. So, also, you don't really see spirit boards around too often. You know, a lot of people, they use in their films Ouija boards. That's what people know how to use them. So I really appreciated that I was like, I don't feel really comfortable being in the same room with one, given histories before of them being kind of evil. So I gotta
cut in on Tara's right here too, because I have a funny story about this as well that relates to another filmmaker. I know the director of Witchboard, Kevin Tenney. He also did Night of the Demons, and I actually contacted him on Facebook and talked to him about the practicalities of us using a quote-unquote witchboard in the film. And he, right off the bat, gave me some very good advice. And the advice was that, they had to go get their art department and create original Ouija boards because of the Mattel copyright. You can't use something that you buy right off the store in the film because there's an image copyright on the Ouija board that a lot of filmmakers probably don't even know about. That I had to talk to another filmmaker that had it done, probably the most famous at this point Ouija board film that I know of, and he gave me a lot of good insight on that. And he also said that the actors are dedicated; they'll do they'll deal with it one way or the other, but it's your choice on what you want to convey in the film and stuff. And I thought about it, and that's how we ended up with the pendulum.
Well, Tara, on that note, my fiance actually is.
I'm also pagan.
Nice.
Yeah. So, you're not alone. That's for sure.
There are dozens of us.
There's so many.
Yeah, there's a lot more of us than people think.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but
everywhere.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I have a couple stories about Ouija board, but one that I'll never forget is a friend of mine who just likes the idea of a Ouija board. This is like a few years ago, and of course, he had to have some dumbass to help him out. And the reason why I say dumbass is, everybody knows some of the rules about the Ouija board. That if you're going to use it, you need to make sure that you keep your fingers on the damn eye, the eye, at all times. Yeah. And so, what did this guy do? He later on during the conversation, which appeared to us, which I don't really trust anything the Ouija board says, because we all know that demons and everything can manipulate things to try to make you feel sad or whatever. But we got supposedly this little boy in by the name Kyle, and he was very afraid of something in the room that we were in. He didn't say what or anything, but the weird thing about this is that when they were trying to say goodbye, it wouldn't move. But on the third or fourth time when they tried to say goodbye, the eye went to HELPME in probably 3 seconds. And as soon as that happened, my other friend my friend, dumbass friend, I should say, let go of the eye. And he goes, okay, I'm done. So now all of us are looking at him like, are you dumb? Why did you do that?
You just broke the cycle. The demon can come in and take over our bodies.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I think also everybody say that we kind of erred on the side of caution with that too.
Yes.
With
Yeah, we did have the outtakes. I was actually teaching them how to use it.
If I remember this correctly too, I think didn't Michelle burn sage when you were doing the ritual scene, Ashley?
I believe she did.
I remember she did.
I forgot about that. I will follow up on that and say I totally believe in all that too, and it scares the crap out of me. But I'm glad that Tara said it before me, because I probably wasn't going to say anything. I guess I was just going to live with the spirits that came with me after and just deal with it, So So props to Tara for jumping the gun before I did.
Yeah, it's like, nope, it's just, I'm too busy to have to deal with some ghost
I have things to do.
me around, changing my radio, hiding my stuff, Nah, we're just going to say no on this one. Hard nope.
No, I'm glad you said it, if I'm being honest.
I think it's definitely an important subject anyway that people don't misuse all the time, even in films, and I think people need to start realizing what they're dealing with before they even do it. But you guys seem to have done it really well, as it seems, with getting everything.
I would like to say we had a bit of advisement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, people are just better off not toying with things that they don't understand.
That's the problem a lot.
Opening doors you can't close.
Right.
Yeah, don't open a door you can't close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As much as I guess the movie's a morality play in itself too, I mean, we shouldn't, cross lines that way either. So we try not to. Even the lady that ran the curio shop had very strong reservations about us using certain terminology and stuff like that. So we really worked with her on the script to get it to where she was okay with it, so we can get that great location. Because that location just lended.
Yeah, that was a cool location. I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, that was really cool. I was just like, wow, this is a really neat place for sure. So it seems like she's got everything, or they have everything, I should say. So whatever seems to be the need, it's going to be right there for sure. And how did you guys market this place when it was finally coming out? What did you guys did you want it just on VOD? Did you want it to eventually come out on like physical media, like DVD, Blu-ray? What do you guys want to accomplish with your movie?
Very good question. I'm just going to say this is a blanket statement for right now, and Lou will probably agree with me on this and stuff like that. We want the support, to get. I think a lot of people don't know when the movie's out, or even available on VOD for that matter. And I would like to have access. If you're a fan of the movie and you want to get more with our commentaries and our special features and our bloopers, we got everything ready to go on a disc, and we can make that available, signed for anybody that want it, and have that as an option as well, along with all the video on demand. I understand it's a business and it's all about pushing product and stuff like that, but by the end of the day, we just want to have the best representation of the film for the time that we put into it.
Very cool. Well, when I do see it on like physical media, I'll make sure to even get a copy of that too. So just to help you guys out.
We'll have it signed. We'll get the cast to sign it, definitely. We appreciate you helping us get the word out. I mean, it's just getting the word that it's available to watch. And once we get into physical media and you actually can get a tactile, I'm a collector. I collect discs too. I still have a hard time just having a hard drive full of content that can erase by a surge of energy. But anyways, I think it's just fun to have all the extra stuff you can get. I guess you can probably even gather more about the film, seeing how it was put together.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a lot you guys could do once you brought it out to physical media. You guys could do like commentary. You guys can do like cast and crew interviews, and there's so much you could really do with, I think, the physical media. So, and to touch on that too, Christopher, is if you want. Well, I'll just say this to everybody here. I'll throw it out there. But if you guys would like to keep in contact with Tessa and I, because I think you guys are all great people. It's been nothing but a lovely time talking to you all, and I would like to keep in touch. You guys are more than welcome to add Tessa and I on our personal Facebook if you guys would like to keep in contact. And Chris, I actually know somebody who runs a indie film publishing company where they are taking submissions, so you could always try there to see if they can help you bring your movie to physical media.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's definitely...
yeah, thank you so much.
We really appreciate any kind of leads or any kind of ends. It's a tough business, and I understand it is a business, and people are trying to make money off of us and whatnot and everything, but at the same time, we definitely want the integrity of what we worked very hard for there. And that is why
Tessa and I started the podcast. We know that independent people don't get the right indie media world as much as the Hollywood people do. And sometimes the independent filmmakers, I should say, create some amazing stuff that just don't get seen, or they get overlooked or something, and then next thing you know, nobody knows what type of films are out there. So that is actually one reason why Tessa and I wanted to start to begin with, it to help small people out like all you guys here.
Much appreciated. Again, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And to kind of wrap this up, because I can't think of anything else too much, but unless there is anything, Christopher or Tara, Mario, Eric, or Ashley, that I did not touch on that you guys would like to share, this would be your chance to shine on anything that we may not have touched on that you would like to share with us. And then otherwise, what can we expect from each and every one of you for the future of upcoming projects?
Who wants to go first?
I just want to, again, I know that we've touched on it, but just get across, how much work, everybody put into it, and how none of it would have been possible without Chris. He kept it all together for a long time. It was over a good period of time. So, we just, just for everybody to know that we really tried to make it as perfect as we could to where everybody could enjoy it, and, that we put a lot of work into it.
Mario, do you want to speak a little bit about, or Eric?
I'll keep mine simple. As far as future plans, probably just be in more Chris's movies and die in more gruesome ways.
Do you say you're working on something? Yeah.
No, not sure. No.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we got things in there. I'm going to say a very general blanket statement here that Louis will agree with me on. We're working on some stuff, and it's very exciting, and we hope to be sharing it with you guys in the future very, very soon. And along with Mario too, he's taking his research to the next step, and he's working on his screenplay right now, and we hope to have that in the canon, ready to fire very, very soon. And we're working on our 20th anniversary documentary that'll be out very soon. And the project that we had before, the night before, another film that we did, it's going to be part of a horror series by my friend Jen Nagel. It's going to be like an anthology series, and we're glad to have that avenue to release that film because we did work very hard on that movie too. So those are some of the things we're working on right now.
Well,
we definitely look forward to your future projects.
Definitely.
Yeah, and we're just going to say true to the form. We're going to just make them the way we like to see them. If we were just the fans that we are and, this is what we would be looking for, what we'd be seeking out, we're not going to just crank one out because we want to make a quick buck on VOD or anything like that. We're definitely, dedicated filmmakers that have a vision, have a plan. And, we do have a lot of reverence for people that want to follow us, that want to invest in us or have anything to do with any of our future projects. So,
definitely. Yeah. It sounds really fun and exciting. So I can't wait to hear and see what else you guys bring. Because if it's anything like the tale that we're talking about, or, I'll just say tale because, it technically is an anthology. So,
mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we touched on it now that I'm thinking about it. So the comic book, how did that come to be? Did you guys find an artist to actually draw out the scenes or some specific scene?
Mario, you want to take that one or?
There was when we first started, there was the book that you see in the majority of the film. You see the cover, and there was some art that's in that book and it is featured in the movie. And Chris, you're going to tell me what's her name? I can't remember her name.
Kaylee Hamler.
And so she did some original artwork, which is really, really nice. But we just were doing the movie, but we needed to do the shot from the point of view of the comic and what we had already had filmed. And you see in some of the shots, there's some stills in the comic book that you've seen previously on, even in the beginning of the movie. And like Chris said, we filmed that about 3 weeks before we premiered it at the South Texas Underground Film Festival. We were studying that, trying to put that comic together. So we came to the question and we decided to just place all these different images in there and just kind of, generally look at this, what he's looking through the comic book, even though it wasn't in order the way it should have been. But we did get the look, and we got Eric to do some of these, over the shoulder shots. You can see him looking through the comic. You see that part. Those are the last scenes that actually we shot for the movie because, again, we put that together and showed it 2 weeks later. It was kind of a crush to do it, but it was kind of fun to do because that's kind of my thing. I like to design stuff. I have that in my background, and also design what we're using as the cover for the movie for right now, that we have on the website and stuff on Facebook. So we use that, and it was fun. Like I said, it was. We wanted to try to put it together as a comic book and put it in order.
So it was going to go in
maybe give it as a run, but there was just so much. It was kind of last minute. It's too hard to get it all together. I would hope one day that would be nice to do if we did any kind of a box set, a couple of years, whatever. Maybe you get that put together, but anyway, yeah.
It was a challenge. It was a challenge for Mario. I felt he took on a lot past being just an actor. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but he took an active art director, graphics designer approach to making that book happen. Mm-hmm. So we were watching this movie not knowing how it was going to transition for the longest time, and then once we got those shots in there, we were like, whoa, okay, this works. We could take that sigh of relief that it was coming together finally, and thanks again, Mario, for not only, going, Louis too, and Annette and everybody else that helped us, or Kim that helped us organize the screenings. They had such great screenings, and stuff like that, and we and it was good for us to get that feedback. That also helped us, I think, shape the film. If there was something that we didn't work or something that needed to be refined, we would know about it, take it, and and run with it.
Well, it makes me want my own copy, to be honest. I was just like, oh, this looks like a cool book. So
it is a cool book. I look at it, it's just like, it's still neat that we managed to pull that thing off.
Yeah.
Well, My last thing that I can think of at the moment before if you guys would also like to plug in on where people can keep up to date with you always, if you'd like to have people to. Okay. But for people that would like to see the Muerte Tales of Horror, where can people find it?
Right now, it's still available on Amazon, and I think that's it right now. It's Amazon, and hopefully, things will transpire, and then physical media will be available along with other avenues as well and stuff like that. And, I'm not going to say anything prematurely or anything like that, but that's what we're working on, is getting as many platforms as possible. And working with people that have a love for the genre, that know how to market it and stuff. We're really hoping to get that special, some type of special edition of it available to everybody. And again, I just want to thank everybody that worked on the cast and crew, and put in those long hours and those sticky days, and made all this happen. We have something that we can walk away from, that we've shown. We've got a lot of good feedback, and it just kind of lights the fire to do something even bigger and better.
I completely agree, and I will applaud everybody too. So good job.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for all contributing to this podcast. It's always great to get more than just one talking head or two talking heads, but getting everybody's story. Everybody tells a good story. Everybody has some memories.
Exactly. It's always fun to hear everybody's own stories, or maybe a story that somebody else doesn't know. So it's always fun.
I think it's great that you guys all managed to make it to this conference and we're all talking and everything. I think it's definitely been a very fun and interesting experience.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
Yeah. Now, do you guys have like a social media outlet for the movie, or for crap? I'm gonna probably butcher the company now. Night something.
Night Creature.
Yes.
We have a Night Creature Productions Facebook page, along with a Muerte Tales of Horror page. So you can follow us on either one of those. We have Instagrams for both as well, and we do have a Twitter handle as well that people can follow as well. And if you occasionally look around and stuff like that, you'll see everybody's interactions from the cast and crew popping up here and there and stuff like that. If you're so inclined, they're so inclined too. I always say it's always good to have a professional page, for acting or promotion or anything like that too. But it's completely up to my cast. We have YouTube as well.
So you hear that, people? Go to Twitter, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, and don't forget YouTube. And just subscribe, like, follow, whatever you got to do on those things, because it's always hard to remember what you got to do. But anyway, On that note, thank you so much, Christopher, Lewis, Mario, Eric, Ashley, Tara, for joining. It was a nice, lovely conversation with you all, and you all are great people, and I'm really honored to be talking with you guys, especially being able to talk about your film that Muerte Tales of Horror. So you all did a wonderful job, and I just can't wait to see what you guys can do.
Yeah, we'd really like to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes, you're right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. And unfortunately, that's all everything for now for the interview. And for those listening, I guess what you need to do is just make sure you don't steal anything from a witch shop, because you just never know what is going to probably come back and bite your freaking arm off or eyes, or
you don't know what you're gonna provoke or summon.
Yeah, and we don't want that, because we just know that's just bad mojo, and you don't need Mario. I mean, we don't need the boogeyman coming after you.
Yeah, don't go messing with black magic.
Don't open doors you can't close.
Exactly. You just heard it from Tara herself, so don't do it.
Right.
And then, thank you so much again, everybody, for listening. And don't forget, as always, to
stay
scary.